that had that I'd heard it had become a cult classic, and it turns out this was also a
Frankie?
good blockbuster success.
Oh.
So I thought, well,
No,
are you talking to me, Sanders?
no, I'm talking to Chris's cat.
Oh.
No, I'm talking to my dog.
I'm used to being no, so I just thought it was
My
direct.
cat's sleeping right now.
I thought I had muted it. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So
There he is.
Oh, there's
Oh,
Matthew.
there.
Hey,
Mike,
he's Matt. Hey, Mattson.
Hey,
Hi, Mike.
Welcome. We thought you were on the road.
I was at a freshman football game watching the cheerleaders. My granddaughter.
You can get
yeah,
around.
thank you for
Oh, okay.
little clarification there.
Yeah, that was good.
Whitaker, they were romping over Hillcrest 29-0 with about 5 minutes left in the second quarter.
Yeah, Hillcrest got 66-0 Friday night by Kickapoo.
Yeah.
So I still have eligibility, so maybe I should show up and help.
Well, that freshman team needs you. They were having to play both ways, and they still only had 8 subs.
Well,
Football isn't cool like it used to be.
No.
Anyway, let me give us a running start here. The Fifth Element, action sci-fi film released in 1997, co-written and directed by Frenchman Luc Besson, mainly set in the 23rd century, with taxi driver Korben Dallas roped into an adventure to save the planet from an impending apocalypse. The cast features Bruce Willis, Gary Oldman, Chris Tucker, and Milla Jovovich as Lilu, which I found later she married the director. They ended up being husband and wife. I don't know if it started there, but it was their match made in heaven. The budget was 90 million.
2 years anyway.
They split up?
Yeah,
Oh,
they were only married 2 years. Yeah.
okay. I didn't read that far. A budget of 90 million, in the first opening weekend in the US it made 17 million, but it got some mediocre reviews, and so the most it ever did in the US was about 50 million, which is barely half of what their budget was. So if it had been a US only movie, it would have been a huge failure. But it became the highest grossing movie in France that year, and eventually earned $260+ million. Wow. So internationally it was a success, and then it became a cult classic.
Right.
And anytime there's a cult classic, then you get all these people reading into what it means and what the symbols were and what the characters meant, and was it biblical, was it mythical? And I had a hard time. This is one of those where, as I watched the movie, I was confused, and I would thought, I'll go back and watch it again. But the circumstances of the last week meant I didn't get to go back and watch it again. So the whole 5,000 year threat that rolls around every time, and which group of aliens are attacking us now, and which group of aliens are going to show up. And so I was trying to figure out just what the fifth element was. And the first four, the earth, wind, fire, and what was the fourth?
Water. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just decided that the fifth element was love. And with all those four, nothing.
Well, it was her.
Yeah, it was her, and she represented love. And they tried to, they tried to show her movies of death and destruction and war, and why is the place even worth saving? But like I said, with lots of cult movies, people read into what did the costumes mean? What was the female energy versus the male energy? Who was in charge, and what were they, and then it comes down to a hapless taxi driver in the future where they're actually flying cars. I was relieved to know that they're going to be flying cars in the future. So
yes. Well, we knew that by George Jetson. Come on.
Right. So since I watched the movie but didn't get a chance to go back and try to figure out all the strands and meaning, I thought I would just start the discussion with my three favorite questions. Is one, what do you think the movie makers were trying to accomplish? Two, do you think they did it? And three, was it worth it? And obviously three, it was worth it for them because they spent 90 million and made 260 million. But was it worth it to you to take, 2+ hours out of your life and at least $3.99 to watch it? That might be a different question if you'd had to spend $12 or $15 in the theater. But what do you think they were trying to accomplish? Did they, and was it worth the effort? So,
For what it's worth, it was free on Prime.
Yeah, it was free.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
so it was worth it, or maybe
It was
not.
definitely worth it.
I want those 2 hours back.
It was less hurtful.
But it's leaving in 4 days, so your second chance to watch it is only going to last for 4 days.
There you
Is
go.
that right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Why?
I didn't know that.
you just happened to pick it up when they were getting ready to toss it, I guess. I don't know.
Man, was I lucky.
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe the 10 of us locking into it, they thought, ooh,
Wow, there's some people
The
that-
surge.
No, I think it's
That's
also
it.
on Tubi, which is free, so it'll be free probably for a long time.
right. I'm not sure how your Brady Bunch squares show up. So I'm just going to go how I see it. Bill Barnhart, what do you think they were trying to accomplish with this movie?
Well, it looked like another Bruce Willis blockbuster movie to me. I think it was a formula, and he was the in charge of the formula. I'm sure he was at the height of his popularity, and I don't know if he'd done any science fiction before or not, but I think they were just trying to ride on his popularity.
Do you think you think it was a cash grab?
I do. I mean, he looked a lot like he played a real similar character to the one in what's the John he plays the guy at
Oh,
Die Hard.
yeah.
He looked like the same guy, just in the future.
Die Hard.
Huh.
Yeah, Die Hard.
Huh.
Sanders? What was your take?
I thought it was a sci-fi shoot 'em up kind of thing. Plus, I like what Bill was talking about. I was just going to look up and see what kind of films he had been in. Bruce it's too bad he's suffering from dementia and some things like that, or else he might still be around. I bet
Yeah.
he's still doing them. I mean, he's still around. I mean, out there putting himself on the front lines or whatever. But so I thought it was a good pick for that. We may not have him for too much longer, but I looked at it as you could make it a Western. You could look at it as a Western. You could look at it as a Roman, sandal and sword movie, but it just happens to be set in the 23rd, 24th century. And so, you get what you paid for when you said Bruce Willis starts in this thing. I thought it was fun. I don't know about you guys, but I like a good Western every once in a while. I like a good sci-fi thing. And my big question is, who did the costumes of the Maladors, those guys? It reminded me of Frank Oz type stuff. In the early days of Saturday Night Live, they had monsters on along with the comedians. And I didn't see anything when I looked on Wiki about who made those costumes, but
there's a whole section on what the costumes meant. I mean, when you do a cult movie, people start assigning meaning to everything, and there's a whole strain of what the costumes were about. And I think in a couple of awards, they got awarded for best costume. And there's somebody, I don't know who
Jean-Paul Gaultier.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Somebody of note is credited with the costumes, and that was an achievement of
Right.
note.
Yeah.
So, Donna?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I remember seeing it and liking years ago in '97, and
You saw it
liking.
before?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had seen it before in '97 and remember thinking how though at that time, those scenes were phenomenal. I mean, the 23rd century up until that point had been kind of like, awful. And this was like a real city and the flying cars and all that stuff. It was just really done so differently than you'd seen the future before. Plus, I like sci-fi. I mean, I don't like all sci-fi, but I was a Trekkie. I was a Star Trek person. So when I keep thinking, well, we know that all these things are going to be in the future. The unfortunate part were those little cubicles that they lived in where everything was a arm's length away. But I liked it back then. I liked it again, except for Chris Tucker. Is that his name, Tucker? That drove me nuts. His voice, every time he came on, I was turning the voice down because it was just like jarring. That character, I think they could have done without that character all the way around. The thing that I found interesting, you guys probably know this, that Prince was supposed to do that part, and I wish he had. And
Who was supposed to do it?
Prince.
Whoa.
Prince.
The artist formerly known as Prince.
Yes, thank you. And he went against it, and I think they just should have just given up that whole thing. I didn't think it did anything for the movie. Gary Oldman, he's always so amazing to me. He was so strange with that Texas accent and the guns. I thought, he did it perfectly, and I thought Bruce Willis was having fun. I did think it was a kind of a different character. Usually Bruce is the one that's saving everybody and shooting everybody, and he really doesn't do that in this movie. He's more the other people do. I think there's only 2 scenes where he's actually shooting a gun, when the priest is being held by that preacher, and he shoots him that was one, and there was another scene, but he doesn't do much action stuff. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So yeah, I liked it in its own weird way. Is it a great movie? No, but it was fun. It was fun to watch for me.
I wonder why it was such a hit in Europe, because as I was watching it, it almost seemed like a satirical takeoff on sci-fi, especially the Chris Tucker character.
Yeah.
So over the top.
Yeah.
I thought, are they making fun of sci-fi? I couldn't figure it out.
And it's almost a Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Went too far with him.
Yeah. Just over the top.
But if they offered it to Prince, or that was their first preference for that role, they clearly thought it was going to be an important role in the movie. I don't know that Prince could have carried it off, to be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of that part of the movie, and thought it could have been edited down, but I'm not sure Prince. I don't know much about
I don't know either. But his voice would have been better. That's all I know.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, if they wanted Prince, they clearly thought highly of the role, I think.
Jeff Copeland, you're next on my Brady Bunch lineup here.
Okay. I was very impressed with the gamish of stuff that was brought into this from stuff, and then some offshoots that came after it as well. So I found an element of Raiders of the Lost Ark, Star Wars, general comedy. I think the villains behind Bill look like Ninja Turtles a lot. If you just put a mask on them. And Blade Runner, with the way that the city was structured and things going up and down and sideways and all that
That's
stuff.
what I saw.
And the characters you guys were just talking about that was so obnoxious on the cruise ship, he may have been just making fun of entertainment on cruise ships, but I think that some of the characters in Hunger Games followed that pattern as well, where they were sort of sensationalized and so forth. And I was particularly taken with Gary Oldman's costume, just outrageous. he was really good in that. So
Yeah.
I found it very entertaining. I think it was pandering to a lot of the current tastes in movies at the time, but I found the story, it kept my interest through the whole thing, and I was kind of excited about what was going to happen. There's a little bit of, sort of an archaeologic component to it, which I guess goes back to the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, the Indiana Jones element. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of my take.
So what do you think the producers were trying to achieve?
I think they were trying to tell a good story with a sense of humor. There's some crazy characters in there, and the way they behaved around each other. The priest was kind of like nutso, he was carrying the sword carrying the message of the ancients, and felt like he had to do that. But his sidekick was wearing the Devo hat. I mean, it was just goofy stuff, I guess his son, really, yeah.
Back to the Bruce Willis thing, there was talk of doing a Fifth Element 2, but I guess that's been within the last 3 or 4 years, and they didn't do it because of Bruce Willis's memory issues. And so there's never going to be a Fifth Element 2, which may be to all of our benefit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Be the 10th element. Yeah.
I had read that Luc Besson, who wrote it and directed it and all that, actually wrote this when he was a teenager.
Yeah, 16.
Yeah. So I can see it's a teenager's kind of movie, with, starting in the 20th century, then jumping to the 23rd century. And then, that was, that's what I thought it was a kid. Or it felt that way. It felt like it was disjointed in many ways, but just kind of jumping and having fun with a lot of stuff.
And I think he started it when he was 16 and just kept changing it and changing it and changing it. Somebody gave him money to turn it into a movie.
Yeah.
Did he cite any references, any influences for his science fiction writing?
Not that I read. Did you?
I don't think so. I think this just came out of his, noodlings in his
14-year-old brain
class. Yeah.
Although the screenwriters did get sued for libel or for taking too many things from them. The French court found that they did a few things, but not enough to consider it appropriating the material. Yeah.
Oh, really?
From what?
From another sci-fi thing.
Oh.
Another French sci-fi piece. No, I just remember reading about it, but there's always people that do that. I mean, that's just something that happens in Hollywood all the time.
Yeah. There's only so many notes on the piano, and
right.
Yeah, really.
His song's like, hey, my song had those notes, pay me. Yeah. Pete, you're up. Earth to Pete.
Yeah, I was reading. I think this is the second time that Bruce Willis has at least participated in saving the planet. He also did in Armageddon.
Oh, and
That's right.
That's right.
That's what it reminded me of that, Pete.
Yeah.
That movie came right to mind when they gave him the orders of, save the planet again. All right, I can do it.
From my
I think one reason it's probably so big in Europe, I mean, Bruce Willis is probably a big name in Europe, just as an action hero. And Milla however you say her last name.
I think it's
a little bit about her today. She's Ukrainian, but like a monster modeling career, cover girl. So she was probably as much of a draw in Europe, perhaps, as anybody else that was in that film, I would imagine. I mean, she was on the cover of over 200 fashion magazines, and from an early age, like from 12, she had a pretty prolific modeling career and spokesperson for various fragrances or whatever. It was special effects pretty damn good. I like whatever's behind Bill. I forgot what you called those, Maladors or whatever, but I like the armadillo looking things at the beginning when it was 1914 in Egypt.
The good guys.
they did a lot of drugs before they did outfit. I know. So
Yeah.
yeah, I like sci-fi. You know, it was a nice little romp this afternoon for an hour or so. So
Yeah.
Did you follow the plot? Did you figure out who the good guys were? The
I just
bad-
well, I mean, it was good versus evil. Sometimes you did need a scorecard to figure out who was who. Looks like good prevailed, thankfully. So I felt that
Oldman was
I kept
obviously
track of it
evil.
as much as any other movie that goes over my head. So yeah.
a sci-fi movie that ends up in the back seat of a extraterrestrial vehicle, I figure is, you know, okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
Mahoney, you there?
I kind of, I'm in the Barnhart school of a big budget Bruce Willis shoot 'em up thing. I did think that it was in bad need of a tighter editing job. I think, especially in the last third of the movie, there were the comedy stuff was detracting away from moving the plot line along. The other thing is, and I don't know too much about the guy. Does Gary Oldman really have a Texas accent? Is he really from
No.
Texas?
No,
Okay.
No.
Well, I don't know why he affected that. That didn't fit to me at all with his character. I mean, he could have had something that without an accent at all, and he would have been okay. So I mean, you know, I hadn't seen it before. I'd read a little bit about it before I watched it earlier today, and was eager to do it. And you know, it was okay. It was a fine way to spend some time. You know, is it a blockbuster in my mind? No, but you know,
France thinks so.
huh?
I said
Yeah,
France
France.
thinks so.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
would he have been better off with the New Jersey accent? Would that have been better?
No accent whatsoever. He didn't need to be a gangster from New Jersey either.
He's played them before.
Yeah, yes.
The assassin, I think that was in New Jersey, I think.
I was thinking that you would look good with his haircut, Mahoney. I think
Probably so.
that would be a good look.
I
And
would think
that
that
plastic.
plastic skull cap would get a little warmed up.
Yeah.
Take that to the golf course.
There you go.
All right, Mattson.
I thought I saw a lot of Blade Runner and Star Wars bar scene in it, and
Yeah.
and I wondered, and I think this is the real crux of this thing. Its popularity in France, I think, is because Chris Tucker is the Jerry Lewis character.
Really. Huh.
I think the
Over
French
the
love
top.
Jerry Lewis so much, and Chris Tucker is so over the top. In fact, reading the Roger, what's his name?
Ebert.
Review of this, he grew tiresome of Chris Tucker as well.
What did he say about the movie? I didn't see that.
He said it really had some potential, and it just kind of petered out.
Was it a thumbs up, thumbs down, no
No, I
thumbs?
think he gave it 3 stars.
Oh, 3 stars.
They do that.
Um,
They were thumbs up.
3 thumbs up. Actually, I think this was a post Roger, one of his minions that did it. Because it's when's it's come out?
97.
97. No.
Oh no,
No,
I guess he would have done it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of followed along through the first half of the movie, and I thought, okay, this is going to be a good and evil and that kind of stuff. And then it just really kind of, to me, played off into ludicrousness.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Ludicrous speed kind of picked up there towards the end.
That's when I thought it went into satire, that it was making fun of sci-fi, especially with Chris Tucker character being so far over the top.
Yeah, I mean, I thought there was a real story at first. I mean, the girl falls into the cab and here's this shoot 'em up adventure. And then all of a sudden, what the hell am I watching?
Yeah.
All right.
And I thought they played with that. And so at the end, I just thought, okay, it's just a big satire.
So at the end of it, was it worth your time?
That's okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Gary, you've spent some time on cruise ships. Do you think that was realistic?
They blew up the cruise ship, that was for sure.
It was the cruise ship that didn't touch the water. Are cruise ships supposed to like be on the water? This one was above the water.
The good ones are supposed to be on
It's
the
a
water.
hover ship. Yeah.
Good
King
ones don't
Arthur.
blow up either.
King Arthur, what was your take?
You know, what's not to like? It had all kinds of action and gorgeous woman and, you know, sci-fi. I mean, I'm not a brainiac, so it was, I wasn't finding any, or trying to find any intellectual meaning in it. It was just a fun movie.
You're the only one. There's pages and pages online of people who have read all sorts of meaning into this thing that I had no idea. And if I'd have gone back and watched it, I could have thought, well, I never thought about that. But good for you. You watched it as superficially as me.
You know, the director's French, right? Maybe that's
Right.
part of the reason it was so popular in France.
But
And the
I'm curious
Chris
if the
Tucker-
French watched it in English or if they watched it in English with French subtitles or they watched it dubbed in French. You know, I don't know. You know, because it's an English language movie.
Right.
To have made 270 million and 220 million of that overseas, it was either a good dub job or a good closed caption job. I don't know.
And that's from a long time ago. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big movie in 1997.
It was the number one most profitable movie for 16 years in
Yeah.
Europe. It was a
Crazy.
blockbuster. Yeah.
Wow.
What did we miss? I mean, not that it's a bad
exactly.
movie or a good movie, but why is it 3 times bigger overseas?
That's a good question. You know, the last movie I recommended was the Spirited Away movie, which was the anime thing from Japan, and it was a blockbuster. And you know, I thought it was an interesting story. I just don't know how it blew the roof off the box office. There's a strain there that I don't get, but I'm trying to figure it out.
You know, the Chris Tucker guy reminded me of in Hunger Games. You know, they had that lady who was always reporting everything that was going on.
Yeah.
And
Elizabeth Banks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, I'm not sure why you fell to the bottom of my Brady Bunch screen, but we've saved the best for last.
Oh my goodness, I'm flattered. You shouldn't have. Just a couple of things to Donna's point about there's a certain age group that really, really like this movie. I have a 34-year-old son, and he was so excited that this was the pick for this week. Oh, Mom, this is going to be great. You're going to love it. Well, I'm sorry. I'm just not a sci-fi gal. I'm just not. But I was impressed with the fact that in this century, that McDonald's and cockroaches are still going to be around. They pick that up?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it'll be interesting. It would be interesting to know that in France, how would they translate Lilu's language? That could have been interesting. They probably would have left it as it was, but it was pointed out to me that at no time in the movie do Dr. Zorg and Korben Dallas go head to head.
Right.
They dance all around each other, but they never go, head to head. So I thought that was interesting. And of course, the fifth element is love. And you can just tell from the very beginning that Bruce is gonna get the girl for Dallas. He's gonna get the girl because he's putting down the pictures of his ex-wife or girlfriends or whoever it was. But you know that in the end, that they're gonna be together, and sure enough.
Yeah.
What did you make
Well,
of
I have
the
Gary.
what did you make of the movie reel where they made Lilu look at all the horrors of war? I mean, what do you think they were
Oh,
trying to do there?
well, just making the point of how awful all the war was, and she's a symbol of love. And she couldn't understand it or grasp it, and it brought her to tears, and it just shows us how awful war really is.
Wasn't that like a Clockwork Orange?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Same
Kind
thing,
of.
yeah.
Well, they
Yeah.
weren't
I thought-
conditioning her, they were bringing her up to date on what had happened
Right.
in history.
Right.
And she also learned English and a few other things while she was just,
But were they
buzzing.
trying to tell her this place is not worth saving, or this is all the hate you need to overcome to save the place?
They were
think she-
orienting her towards it. They were educating her. Here's the task in front of you. This is
Yeah,
how
'cause she's-
this world has become.
She's the
It was
divine
education.
person.
right?
Yeah.
So
She
they're not
was
trying to convince
perfect.
her, they're just trying to prep her, I guess.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why it was so interesting in France, because that's, French, Paris is known as the city of love. They look at love a little differently, Star Wars, I don't remember a love, there's, love tension in there, but that's not a theme that they don't line up and say, we're in favor of love. Maybe that was it. I don't know. Good guess.
Remember, they like Jerry Lewis.
I like Jerry Lewis, I'm sorry. I used to think he was hilarious.
Is he still alive?
No, I
No.
don't think so.
No.
No?
No,
He's left us,
Yeah,
left the
he used to
building.
do the Labor Day
MS.
weekend telethon.
Yes, the
And I would stay
telethons.
up and watch that thing to the very
or
end. And
MD.
he would always sing the last song, which was
Yeah.
Hold Your Head Up High, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So let me
Yeah.
ask you this, the Gary Oldman character, he had some boss who wanted these stones and he was, desperate to get them. I wonder if you guys know who that person was and what he wanted to do with the stones. I mean, what did he want to do with the fifth element?
He wanted
Was
the world to
wired
be
still-
destroyed.
Yeah. Of course.
You what?
He wanted the planet Earth destroyed?
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's
Including himself.
the benefit in that?
Right, but he was hired by the group of goons behind Barnhart there, and
Yeah.
to carry out their plot, but and destroy the Earth, which means he would have been destroyed with it as well.
Unless he took off for another planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a flaw in a 16-year-old. Didn't work that way, that angle out yet.
All right.
The Gary Oldman
The,
guy, he hired the guys behind Bill to get the stones, and then they didn't get them. And then he had a boss of his own. Remember, he was talking to him on the phone, and the blood started coming down, and like he had
That's
to get
right.
Stones.
There were two sets of evil people from 10,000 years ago and from 5,000 years ago. And now here we go. So I think he was from a couple generations back and still trying to commit the original crime. Of
How did
destruction.
the stones get in that performer behind me and behind Jeff? Remember when he reached in and how'd they get there?
Yeah. They were
FedEx.
put in there to hide.
FedEx.
She
FedEx.
swallowed him.
Yeah.
Hey,
They were
Oh,
put in
yeah.
there to hide them. Who would
Yeah.
think to look there?
Not me. I know I'm not putting my hand in there. I know that.
Who exactly is the character behind you guys, Jeff and Pete?
What about it?
The
Taylor
diva?
Swift.
Yeah. I mean, what was her character in the movie?
She's a hell of a
She,
singer.
she was the diva on the cruise ship.
Okay.
Opera
Yes.
singer.
I've seen her. Yes. That's brilliant. Now that you mention it, I've seen her.
A lounge lizard.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go around again. Jeff or Bill, if you'd had to pay $15, would you have felt like you got your money's worth or had been ripped off?
Ripped off.
Sanders,
Money's worth.
Jeff,
In '97, I would have paid to go see it.
Donna?
Yeah. Yeah, I did pay to go see it, not $15, but I did pay to see it back then. Yeah.
$15 and $1997. How's that?
Yeah. Well, it was, yeah. Yes, of
$6.
course.
Pete?
I wouldn't have felt ripped off, but I might have been left a little cold with the movie, you know, not one of the best I've seen.
Would you have gone to your, circle of friends and said, you got to see this movie, or was like, I'll just
No, I
keep
don't
myself?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Mahoney?
Probably not. Probably not go see it, and certainly wouldn't have recommended it to friends.
Matson?
Yeah, probably not. I got to figure out where Chris's son is coming from.
Chris?
Is that the demographic that we should be looking at?
Well, we're 37 years. I mean, he's this movie was 26 years ago, and he's 34, so he was 8. Did he watch it then?
I don't know at what point he watched it, but he's a huge movie buff, so who knows? He may have. I don't know.
Well, it might be one of the guys that saw it after it got cult status as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff Arthur?
Yeah, I would have been happy seeing it back then. Yeah, I have seen it before. I don't remember when, but
You had seen it before?
Yeah.
In the theater or online?
it would have been, a rental or something.
Blockbuster.
He would have been too young to have.
All right. Well,
So how many people saw this before this week?
I did.
I did.
Thought I had.
really?
I had not seen it before.
I mean, either. I thought I
Me
uncovered a nugget, but half of you have seen it, huh?
But
Did
I
you
had-
watch
I
it
had-
again, Pete? Or are you just here faking it?
I'm sorry?
Did you watch it again, or are you here just faking it?
No, I watched it today. Yeah. I seen it years ago, and I watched it today just so I could.
Did you, the second time, did you go, oh, I missed that the first time. Oh, I get it. Or this makes no sense again.
There was no clarity that came forth from watching it a second time.
Right.
Okay. Very
It
good.
didn't reveal itself this time.
It did not.
No aha moments.
No.
It did get nominated for an Academy Award in music editing. Does anybody want to guess what movie won the Academy Award that year for sound effects editing?
Moonstruck.
Probably.
I'll tell you there were only 3 movies in that category. The other nominee that didn't win was Face Off. Anybody ever see that movie?
I've
Yeah.
seen
Oh,
that
yeah.
numerous times. I kind of like that flick. I don't remember
Yeah, I
movie
like
being a
that
big,
movie.
music being a big part of it, though.
What was the winner?
The winner was a big one, Titanic.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the French didn't like it as well.
No, when I was watching this, I did notice the score. I thought it was pretty well done. It was polished. I mean,
Yes.
wow.
There's a whole stream of comments about the soundtrack and the weaving of the music and the music as it's under the movie means something to the cultists who have watched this over and over again. It wore me out reading about it, but it's sort of like the costume thing. There's a whole genre of people who love the movie just because of what the costumes mean and just because of what the soundtrack means. It's wearying, it really is.
There's a thing called Wiki fandom. And so that's where you're going to find all that on this movie.
Hmm.
Look it up at Wiki Fifth Element fandom.
Hmm.
They'll have a
I
lot of
will, but I'm not going to do it on the week my mother-in-law dies. I don't have time. I don't.
Yeah.
No, I was just offering that to folks.
I-
that might be
I
interested.
appreciate
I
it.
didn't have time to get into it myself either.
Yeah.
Everyone.
All right. We're a quarter till, so I'll step down and open the floor.
Who's the next pick?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
gonna be me. So you probably never heard of this movie. I never have. I found it on a list of quirky offbeat movies. So,
Little Miss Sunshine. No.
no. It stars
Moonstruck.
Liam Neeson. It's a thriller mystery. It's called Nonstop. And if you're gonna look this up, it's non with a hyphen stop. And it's about a transatlantic flight, and he's a air marshal on this flight.
Mhm.
Of course
And
he is.
somebody is sending him text messages on his private phone or whatever it is, saying that they're going to kill somebody on the airplane every 20 minutes if they don't get a bunch of money.
So his phone is not on airplane mode. Is that what you're saying?
Is his daughter on here?
Yeah, really.
I don't know.
Does he save her from
Yeah.
the threat? Yeah.
It's a 2014 movie and it is on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Great. I've never heard of it and look forward to it.
Yeah, I saw
Damn, I just got bumped from my daughter's Netflix account. Okay.
it.
It may have been
I'll send you $9, Mattson. You can.
Well, surely
We'll
I can
buy-
rent it somewhere.
We'll buy you one where you watch the ads. That's the
Yeah.
latest thing.
All right. Bill, you got anything to recommend?
Not that I can think of. I've just been busy trying to get through The Americans. I like that show, but it's taken up a lot of time. It was a long series, but it's a
Yeah,
good. And
that's a good one.
I haven't gone to see any movies. And I haven't seen anything that looks like it's good that's coming out to the theaters either. So, no, I don't really have anything to recommend. Although I could find one for you if we need it.
Did anybody go to the movies yesterday? It was like $4 everywhere in America.
Yes,
Movie day.
yes.
Really?
Oh,
Oppenheimer.
It included free popcorn.
No, really?
Yeah. Well, I didn't go. I went to
I
the
didn't-
movie and watched a movie called Beasts, Beasts, and it's the Hatfields and McCoys in northern Spain, southern France, and it'll probably win some foreign film stuff called Beasts.
hmm.
Yeah.
You know, I was on a plane yesterday and flipping through, I saw you guys were talking about Face Off. I saw the massive, I think it's called Massive Talent, or the unbelievable bearing of massive talent. And it's a story, it's Nicolas Cage. And it's Nicolas Cage about Nicolas Cage being incredibly talented and then going through, I mean, it's funny. It was way better than I thought. And interesting. I actually might do it as a pick.
Is it a documentary?
Pardon me?
A
No,
documentary?
it's an actual movie about Nicolas Cage, who's this, massively talented guy that kind of hits the skids a little bit. So he's kind of making fun of himself.
He's in the
throughout-
movie?
Yes. Oh, yeah, it's him in the movie. And he ends up being some sort of working for the CIA to act his way into a guy that, a drug dealer that likes him in Colombia. I mean, it's just this convoluted story, but it was fun and it was interesting. And he talks about all his movies and how great he is and how bad he was. It's just interesting. I would recommend it. I would definitely recommend it.
Donna, what movies did Nicolas Cage recommend or talk about that he'd been in?
Well,
Just
he was
curious.
in Face Off, of course.
No,
Oh
I'm
my God.
I'm pimping Gary here.
Oh.
Moonstruck.
Yeah. Yes.
He was in Lord of War.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
in,
he's
No,
been in a
oh,
lot
he's in a
of
lot.
stuff.
No,
Yeah.
I think
Did you
I
talk
think Pete was
about-
done.
Did you talk about Moonstruck 2?
No.
No, still to come.
Yes. Wasn't he supposed to be Superman too?
I think
don't know.
Wasn't he? I'm pretty sure he was supposed to be Superman when they were
I think
doing
Cher
another.
could still do it.
about 3 weeks ago they did a thing on him on CBS Sunday Morning. He is
Oh,
really a character.
yes,
He
yes.
was
Well,
talking.
this movie is just making fun of himself,
Yeah,
you know.
I like that.
That's what I liked about it. It's like he recognized how stupid he's been. Well, stupid is probably the wrong word, but he's just been so engrossed in himself that it didn't work for his family life or anything else. But he's still a pretty massively talented guy.
yeah.
He's always working. He's always working.
Yeah.
Well, he was in extreme debt. He had to work, do tons of movies just to
He's
get
got
back to
millions
even.
and millions of dollars in taxes to pay.
Oh,
he's-
really?
I think
Oh, I
he's-
didn't know that.
He's caught up, but he
Yeah,
had
he's
to
caught
work
up.
a long time
Yeah,
to
Bernie
get,
Madoff.
get above.
Bernie Madoff client or what?
I
Gambling?
don't know
No,
what
no,
he
it was
did.
all him.
I don't know.
No, he
And goes-
invested in all kinds of strange things. RT could tell you more about this, Whit, because he had to unload his movie poster collection. Cage
Wow.
did. And RT snatched up a couple of them that were hard to get. So he was he became a collector, but it was a pop art instead of, and there was some real art in there too. But
And real estate also.
yeah,
He
he had
did.
a lot, a lot of money.
Sanders, have you seen anything you'd recommend?
No, I've been busy. I don't know what to tell you. I did want to mention, last week Bill talked about Jules, and I saw a poster of that, and it said from the creators of Little Miss Sunshine. So who would have thought?
Hmm.
Really?
Yes, that producer, Mark Taub or whatever his name is,
Okay.
produced that movie also.
Pete, have you got a big year 2 up your sleeve?
The words big and year will never leave my mouth again.
Just did.
No, I don't have anything to recommend. I've been kind of jammed up too. So no, I have nothing.
Because this is the week where we need them, we're not going to come back until
Oh,
September
yeah.
11th.
Hey, what was Donna? Donna, what did you say? What was the one? What was the
Well, the Nicolas Cage, I wish it's something like the unbelievable. Oh, geez.
Oh, the
I can't,
title
it's
of it.
something with massive talent. That's what I remember the end of it.
The
a
title
long-
of it is the title of it is if you're totally bored on an airplane, here's a movie to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Jeff Copeland, you got anything?
I've just been watching series on TV. I've been watching Hijacked still. That comes
Oh,
out
yeah.
in parts. And then the one about the female CIA people Mike Sanders mentioned recently.
Lioness.
Lioness, right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of intense. But
And Manson, I'm on my list. There's a new documentary about ticks.
Say
About
again?
what?
About
Hello?
ticks, the little bugs that you can.
Oh, six.
Yeah,
Oh, is that what you
So
said? I was
close,
thinking
so close.
DNA is coming.
But really, I'm
my
looking forward to this. They say that it's been kept quiet for a long time, but a lot of people are getting Lyme's disease and they're just sweeping it under the rug because they don't know how to deal with it.
oh, the other bad tick thing is the thing that instills meat allergy,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is increasing. People get bitten and they're allergic to red meat from then on.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that would suck.
Yes, that
Yeah.
would suck hugely.
By the way, Donna, your movie is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. That's the name
That's
of the
it.
movie.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
that
The
was
unbearable weight of massive talent. So
Jeff
that's
Ar-
kind of the tone.
Jeff Arthur, you got anything up your sleeve?
Nope, I don't.
Matson?
Oh, I just coasting through Hulu the other day and watched The Perfect Storm. I hadn't seen that in quite a few years. George Clooney and
Yeah,
uh,
that was good.
Karen Allen.
What's that about?
Perfect Storm.
They're fishermen. They are,
When was that
from-
storm? What year?
huh?
What year was that storm?
I think it was in 14.
Really?
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah,
A hurricane?
2014.
Well,
No,
there was
just
a hurricane.
a bad nor'easter,
Yeah,
in the North Atlantic. I think these guys,
It's a quasi true story. Mark Wahlberg,
right,
George
right.
Clooney.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one, yeah. Big giant
I think
waves.
they're supposed to be out of Gloucester, Mass or something like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah,
it's all about
Gloucester.
the Gloucester fishermen.
right.
You can
Hey.
believe this or not, but in my list of movie recommendations, I actually was deciding between A Perfect Storm and The Big Year. As God is my witness, I'll show you my list.
You have
Never make
chosen
that
poorly.
mistake again.
What went wrong, Pete?
Started drinking and it all went downhill from there.
Was there a flip of the coin?
Yeah. Yeah, it came up tails on both sides. Yeah.
He thought,
Mahoney, got anything?
everybody's seen The Perfect Storm. I'll bring something new to them.
Mahoney, you got anything?
No.
Chris? Earth to
I
Chris.
watched a couple of miniseries. Hello?
Yeah.
We're
I
with
watched
you.
a couple of miniseries. One was on Netflix that was called Painkiller. And then there's another
Oh,
one
I saw
that's
that too.
similar to that that's on Hulu. It's called Dope Sick. They
Yeah.
are
Mhm.
both about Big Pharma and Purdue when they came out with OxyContin and what happened, how it got so popular, how they got it into doctors and pharmacies, and how so many people got hooked on it when it was not supposed to be that way. So,
So are they
eye-opening
the same
for
deal?
me anyway.
I mean, I've seen Dope Sick and it's really good. But is
Yeah.
Painkiller, is it about the very
Yeah,
More a documentary, right?
Yeah, it's a
yes,
documentary.
it's about the
Yeah.
same thing, and it has Matt Damon in it, Bill. It has Matt Damon in it.
Oh,
Painkiller does.
okay.
But yeah, they're both
Yeah.
about Purdue and OxyContin. So
The most
Yeah.
the most streamed series this summer has been Suits, which was a series
Yeah.
from 2011 to 2018, and all of a sudden it has come back. But I was reading an article today that said if you like Suits, your better choice would be The Good Wife, which I've never seen, and that there is something else coming on the tail end of that called Pearson. So I don't know what The Good Wife is about, but they said it's better than Suits, and Pearson is better than whatever the spinoff of Suits was.
Well,
The Good Wife, the CBS
Good Wife is a,
series?
Yeah,
It's
The
a
Good Wife
legal-
is very good.
Is it?
it's a legal drama also, but it
Yeah.
has
They said it,
more of a female part to it. And there's some political machinations that go on inside it as well.
Right.
It was good.
Yeah,
You know,
Julia
I
Margolis.
yeah.
yeah, I watched Suits, and I wasn't even, I didn't watch it originally when it was out back then, but I watched it pretty recently. And Meghan Markle is in it, and so that's why I know a lot of people were watching it just to see her before she became, the Duchess of whatever she is, York or whatever she is now. But I found it really good. It really shows some of the legal ins and outs of things that you're like, Jesus, if you've got money, well, you can see that the two-tiered system, and these are all the real high-end attorneys and what they do to make sure that their client gets off. And legally, but
That's why people are rewatching it because
Mhm.
of the Duchess
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Doonesbury.
Yeah, whatever she is Duchess of anyway. Yes, I'm sure that's a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's
but-
actually pretty good in it. Better than, again, she was a good actress. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, thanks for indulging me in Fifth Element. For those of you who hadn't seen it, thanks for those who had seen it, going through it for the second time. Nonstop for next week. Jeff, we'll see you
Well, it's not next week,
weeks.
it's the
Week
11th.
after.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I will miss you.
We meet again on 9/11, which is kind of weird, but that's when we do it.
I
Yeah.
leave
And
on
it's an
9/7.
airplane movie.
I will join you from Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Okay.
All right.
All right,
All
y'all.
right.
See you guys.
Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good week, 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye bye all.
Bye.